So now that we've got our prioritized list of keywords, we now want to combine art with science, the qualitative with the quantitative, and try to weave as many of those words as possible into our Amazon listing, with priority for the title and priority for the words that are ranked number one in higher volume first, working our way down. So we're going to focus on the title with the most important words, then the bullets, then we're going to do search terms, and then anything remaining we can kind of tuck into our A+ content or potentially subject matter and some other backend terms. So this here is a listing optimization SOP, which will be kind of a guideline for us to leverage as we're starting to piece this together. The tough thing about listing optimization is you kind of want to feed the algorithm with SEO, but you want it to be as readable as possible. So we're going to make some sacrifices on both those. Some of these keywords we're not going to be able to integrate into listing because we run out of space. And some sentences are going to be maybe a little bit weird because we've tried to weave in some SEO. Generally speaking, my approach is to be very SEO centric with the title. I might throw a couple things in there to make it compelling to click on, but I'm much more prevalent to keyword stuff in a title. The bullets are where you maybe want to make a little bit more of an emotional appeal and weave that in. And if you can get some keywords in there too, great, but really using the bullets to sell. So this is kind of my general approach on bullets. You can tweak this depending on the product, but typically want to deliver the best value prop or advantage in that first bullet. The second bullet's really about hooking it with what makes you good as a product brand and how does that align with the avatar. Third is to address fears, if you've got kind of a fear-based product especially. Fourth is any key brand terms that we can weave in, and we'll kind of show how to do that in this particular example. And then how to use the product if you've got a complicated product. And then the fifth, if you've used about 250 characters on these first four bullets, actually won't index. So this isn't at all about keywords. It's really about getting some of those other things in, like why is your product the right one to choose? What guarantees do you offer? Throw in stuff like this. If it's a giftable product, you can actually speak to the non-avatar in this bullet as well. What I've done is I've thrown in my kind of scratched, kind of draft description of the product here just as a reference. We might be able to steal some sentences from there. I put in here the key features and benefits of this particular product. And then I've also included the emotional appeal, like what's going to actually speak to the archetype in this case, Mark, who's our archetype. And then I've also kind of copied out the highlighted kind of tidbits that I discovered through the Jarvis AI copywriting tool. So there were some really kind of weird ones, but there were some really awesome ones too. So the awesome ones I've actually kind of clipped, and I've put this in here to see if we can potentially weave some of these into our listing as we start to generate ideas for the copy. So let's go back over to the keyword dominator here. If you remember, this is kind of our prioritized list that we made. And basically what I like to do here is kind of collapse two side by side, opening up the listing optimizer on one side and then opening up the target keywords in another sheet so that as I fill out that listing optimizer, I can see some of these targeted keywords get checked off. So let's do that here right now. Okay, so I've got the listing optimizer tab pulled up on my right-hand side here, and then on my left-hand side is going to be my targeted keywords, sorted by priority 1 and sorted by search frequency rank low or volume high first. So the general goal here, especially with the title, is I want to try to get as many of these really high search volume, low SFR words that are priority 1 as possible into my title without it being ridiculously keyword stuffed. So some of it's going to read a little bit weird, and I'm totally fine with that. Most people don't read the title, especially the back end of the title anyway. So let's just kind of go at this and see what we can pull off. The other thing I'm going to try to do here is to try to combine exact match terms here that are also weaved into other words. So I'll give you an example. Let's see if I can see one here. Okay, so let's say I did golf push cart as an example, and I put that in exact match. You can see here I've also got push cart here. So if I just added golf push cart for golf clubs, I would knock both of those off in one fell swoop. So we will try to optimize based on those exact terms that we can fuse together and kill two birds or maybe even three birds with one stone. So let's go over here. I usually start with the brand name, which I like to capitalize. This is why it's also good to have a brand name that the avatar will understand. That's going to stand out against these like SDK and these weird brand names that just are kind of say nothing. So birdie speaks to the avatar. I think that's a benefit just having that in the title. So golf cart's going to be the number one, although I think that golf push cart best describes our product. So there's circumstances where I will select a lower volume word or a higher search frequency rank word because I think it's a better descriptor of our product and I could probably convert better on it. So I think the first one I'm going to do here is the golf push cart. So I usually capitalize each letter, golf push cart. And then again, I'm going to come down here because there's this push cart for golf clubs. I'm going to include that. So cart for golf clubs. And then I'm going to probably do golf cart here. Or I might do this. Maybe I'll call it a value proposition and see if we can squeeze that in. So I'll just be like big wheel, golf cart. So I've kind of described one of the key value props, which might help the click-through rate. And then I'll throw one more on here, which is probably going to be the golf pole cart. So that's pretty dang good. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of the really critical words. And keep in mind, again, with plurals, that this one's also going to be knocked off because I did golf cart. Amazon's going to treat golf cart and carts the same exact way. So we can kind of count that one off the list as well. So that's a pretty dang good start with the start of the actual title. The other thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and kind of break sections up by using this little dash here. Previously, I used to use this vertical line. That's technically against Amazon terms of service. So I stopped doing that and I'll just kind of use that as a break. And then the Amazon SEO is typically going to pick up, in terms of like a Google URL, it's typically going to pick up this first one up into the comma. So that's going to be kind of what your vanity URL is going to be. So keep that in mind where you put the first comma or break like this. So that's a really solid first section. That's going to be like the bulk of what we're going to do here. And then I'm just going to look at some other ones. Golf bag cart is probably what I'll do next. Push cart golf, golf caddy cart. That kind of plays a little bit into one of the other brands that has caddy in the name. So that might be good. Let's just go ahead and hit enter there and see where we're at. So we've knocked some more off the list. Again, golf push carts, because we did that up here and it's a plural, will be knocked off the list. So maybe we can just actually manually color those bad boys in too. I'm going to put push golf cart, break that up. So we're 138. Golf trolley is a good one. And again, you can see here, this is like super SEO stuff, right? But most of what the customer is going to see is up here. Basically, they're pretty much going to see birdie golf push cart for golf clubs, big wheel golf cart, golf pole cart. That's what most people are both going to see as well as read. Most people aren't scanning into that like latter part of the title, which is why I take the risk of having a less readable title that's more keyword centric, because Amazon gives so much dang credit to these words in the title, especially in exact match. The more I can do here, I think the more it's going to give us a better shot at organically ranking. You might want to weave in a little bit more value props, which is totally okay, but it's definitely going to be kind of a give and take. Do you want it to be a little bit more readable, maybe a little bit more clickable, or do you want to have much better ranking on hundreds of more searches a month? It's kind of a toss up. I'm going to do a couple more here, and then I think we're going to run into trouble in terms of hitting our limit. Let's do golf bag push cart. We're at 172. Golf club cart, and then maybe walking golf cart, and just see. We're probably going to be over at that point, but let's just see where we're at. 207, so we're gonna have to ditch this walking golf cart. It's 188, so let's see if we can find something a little bit like punchier. You can see here golf bag with wheels. So I'm just gonna put with wheels here. It's gonna be plural, but I think it works. And look at that, bang, we hit exactly 200. To not make this video too long and boring, what I would be doing here is I'd be going in here and seeing if there's any words that I could carry into other words. So I'd be a little bit more thoughtful about this, and I probably could optimize this a little bit more. This might take you guys like 3+ hours. So you might want to kind of do this in chunks, like sit down and do the title for an hour, take a breather, then come back later, maybe even the next day and do the bullets. You definitely want to be super thoughtful. This is probably one of the most important things that you can do from a keyword standpoint, in addition to just having a good product. So I'm going to kind of make this quick. It may not be fully optimized, but you kind of get the idea that we've knocked a lot of these here off the list already. And I'm just going to look here. It looks like there's a couple other plurals that we can kind of knock off. Like this golf pole carts is covered. So now we will go to actual bullets. And this is where I think it's important to be a little bit more salesy and tap a little bit more into the customer archetype a little bit, and then try to feed a couple of these words in here if you can make that work as well. So I think that if I go back to my listing optimization kind of SOP, The first one is really just delivering the best value prop advantage. And I think if we went for the big wheel concept here for this product, that would be the thing, right? It looks way different. It's badass. It's got some functional benefits, and it feeds into the envy and ego of your customer archetype. So I definitely want to start with that. If this was an electric cart and we went with that value prop, obviously we would play on that as well. So let's just kind of go here. I like to kind of start out with like a punchy start to the bullet to make it more readable. So I might just say here like monster truck tires. Technically, all capitalized words in a bullet is against terms of service. You can kind of determine whether or not you want to do it. The benefit is it's very readable. The risk is that you might have a listing suppression or something like that down the line, or they might not index words if they're capitalized. I tend to use capitalized. I think it's okay, but just know that that's a potential risk. If you want to play it down the middle, just do the capital at the first letter and not the whole thing. So let's see if we can kind of look into some of this. So one thing that I really liked in Jarvis was this. This is not your dad's push golf cart. When you wheel your golf bag in for your round of the week, imagine the heads turning and the envy of your buddies. Stop at that. It's 177. And then we'll just come back to Keyword Dominator and see if there's any words here that we can actually plug in. So there's this golf bag with wheels. We kind of incorporated it as plural a little bit into the title. I could potentially kind of knock that one off. But I think this pull cart for golf clubs could be another interesting one. Or this golf push cart 4-wheel, assuming we do a 4-wheel version. So I could do something, again, this is kind of where it gets, do you want to be art or science? But you can see here, this is not your dad's push golf cart. So we could potentially take that word. This is not your dad's golf push cart 4-wheel. Again, a little bit weird, but also kind of reads, right? So this is not your dad's golf push cart 4-wheel. When you wheel your golf bag in for your round of golf of the week, imagine the heads turning and the envy of your buddies. Let's just see here. The other one that we had here is wheel your golf bag. Let's just see if there's any words there. Again, I'm trying to write naturally or kind of what's first off my head, and then I'm looking for words that I kind of might be able to snipe a keyword in instead. So we got golf handcart. Let's go ahead and put that one in. Imagine when you wheel your golf handcart in for your round of the week. Or no, when you wheel your golf handcart in for your round of the week, imagine the heads turning and the envy of your buddies. This beast is built. I see I've got golf buggy. This golf buggy beast is built for the pros and mediocre amateurs. So it's kind of humorous, right? Having a little bit of fun. We're right around 250. I might kind of massage this a little bit later. But I think that's a good kind of first thing. So it's monster truck tires. I'm hitting on that big benefit. This is not your dad's golf push cart 4-wheel. Again, kind of talking a little bit to the avatar here. When you wheel your golf handcart in for your round of the week, imagine the heads turning and the envy of your buddies. This golf buggy beast is built for the pros and mediocre amateurs. So I could turn the and into an ampersands, and then I might just put beast in caps just to make that stand out. Then we're down to 252. So I think that's a good first bullet. Again, we'll kind of tweak this over time. This is a multi-hour exercise. I don't want to bore you guys too much, so let's go on to the second bullet. Hook them with what you will make you a great product and or brand. So I like this conquer any terrain. I might hit on that one again. Conquer any terrain. And then I'm going to play on there. There's that one thing from Jarvis that talked about like the water and the sand. I put it in here. Here we go. Whether your next shot is into the water or on top of a bunker, the birdie, and let's go ahead and find a keyword here. So I just found this golf cart, which is 972 search volume, so I might go ahead and put that in here. The birdie, golf cart. So It's one word together, which is somewhat of a misspelling, but it's got almost 1,000 search volume. So I'm going to plug that in as one of the keywords. So whether your next shot is into the water or on top of a bunker, the birdie golf cart plows through anything. Kind of pause there. Let's go back to our inspiration list and see if there's anything that we can weave in here. And then I like this. Turn heads at every tee box, period. It's a one-way ticket to awesomeness. So we're just about 200 there. Again, like you're kind of weaving in some science with the keywords and then trying to make it fun and make people kind of laugh and really hit at the avatar. So turn heads at every tee box. It's a one-way ticket to awesomeness. And then instead of it's, maybe we could put a keyword in there. Let's go back to our list. I just sorted by search volume here to see if we can get any other ideas. I think this golf bag wheels, or golf bag with wheels. Let's do that. Okay, so we've got golf bag with wheels knocked off the list. I think that's good for that bullet. Let's move on to the next one. This is where you can address fears. Again, I think since this is kind of a fun product, I think that we don't necessarily need to address any fears, honestly. Although you could potentially play on that. I think this one we're going to kind of look at another value prop and maybe the fact that it stores a bunch of stuff. So let's just think about what we want to say for this bullet. I'm just going to put ultimate storage. Holds up to 100 pounds of gear, tees, whether it's tees, balls, range finders, golf accessories. Again, that's a keyword that we can kind of plug in here. Golf accessories or a cold one. And then I put this, and then let's look for another keyword that we can tuck in here. Pull cart for golf clubs. That's a good one. This pull cart for golf clubs stores it all. Let's go back to our listing optimization, see if we have any other ones. I'm just going to put here another advantage is playing better. Again, thinking about the customer avatar. One of the things he takes pride in addition to like impressing his buddies and having cool stuff, is he wants to do better, right? Like that's where a lot of his ego derives. If he has a good score, you know, he's riding high for that entire next week. So I'm just going to put play better here. And then this is where I'll just say whether you are a scratch golfer, which basically means you hit par. He'll understand this, Mark will. We're happy to break 100. This easy to use, and then push golf cart. We're going to look for a keyword on that. Can shave strokes off your game. No more sore back. No more slices. Again, kind of playing on like a bad shot. This easy, I'm going to go ahead and hit on that 3-wheel thing. Again, if we had a 4-wheel, we wouldn't use this. But just for fun, I'm going to say to use this easy to use golf bag carts with 3 wheels. All right, I think that's good. And then I'm just going to say here, perfect gift. So I'm actually going to speak to the archetype's wife on this one. So I might just say here, you're already wife of the year, but do you want to be wife of the century? I'll capitalize century. Imagine the look on your husband's or dad's face when he opens up big-wheeled golf walking push cart. You're not an ordinary wife, and this isn't an ordinary golf gift. Again, golf gift is going to be a keyword that we can hit on here too. So that's kind of another one. Another one that we could do here if we wanted to kind of displace this. I'm going to put this in here just as an option, just so you can kind of see what it looks like. But we may want to actually get branded terms. If you remember, you can't place other brands' terms in your backend, and you can't just go ahead and throw like Titleist golf cart in my title, because that's against the rules of Amazon's terms of service. But what you can say is that it's compatible with something else. So if I thought that one of these bullets, I kind of wanted to weave in one that was more targeted to branded terms versus doing one of these ones here that's more advantage based, I could do something here like, you know, broad compatibility. And then here I could say works with, and then we could do like caddy daddy. Let's actually look at some other branded terms that came up. So works with caddy daddy, caddy tech, bag boy. Click Gear. Might throw like Titleist in there. Titleist and Sun Mountain golf bags. So that's another thing that you could kind of throw in here, and we can knock a bunch of these branded terms off and really get those. Most people don't know how to use that strategically, but we could absolutely do it here. They've got golf bags and it fits onto our cart. Heck yeah, throw that in there, and that's another way to target it. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Again, this would take hours. We would massage these a little bit more, but that would be my core approach. And you kind of get the methodology here, right? I'm just trying to strategically weave in as many of those words as I can, but in the bullets, trying to speak more to my avatar and really having some sales language in there that really draws out the emotional appeal and the true benefits that will speak to our avatar. Now let's optimize the back-end terms and some of this other stuff, which is a little bit more mathematical and kind of bringing in our Amazon chops with SEO into the equation and using this tool to its fullest. Okay, so now that we have the title and the bullets, what we want to do next in terms of priority is to fill in this 250 characters of the search term section. The one difference between the title bullets and the search term is that the search terms, we don't necessarily need to do the exact terms anymore. Because we've already used a lot of those words here in the title and bullets, we don't need to replicate them. They're basically only going to be the individual words that we haven't yet targeted yet anywhere else in the listing. So the strategy to do this, to come back here to our target keywords, and what we're going to do is we're going to filter by color, and we only want to have the white ones, which basically means that it has not been optimized yet. And we want to pull all of these guys in here that are 1s, 2s, and 3s there. We're going to copy those, and then we're going to come back here to our more phrases to rank section of the listing optimizer. We're going to go ahead and paste those in there. We're going to go ahead and do the paste values only there, and it's going to pick up search volume where it's got it automatically, which is kind of cool. And then this is what we're going to do. We're going to go to Keyword Dominator at the top, then we're going to go down to Listing Wizard, and then we're going to go to Process Phrase List. And what it's going to do, it's going to take all these terms and it's going to put it into this section here. So you'll see we have 2,304 characters that have not yet been optimized in the 1s, 2s, and 3s. So what we're going to do is just copy this. We're going to come up to the search term. So even though that it's only 250 characters, we're going to go ahead and copy all 2,300 in here. I'll paste special values only, and it's filled that whole thing out. And then you'll see here, it's basically kind of made that all yellowed out, right? So obviously this doesn't fit in here, but what we're going to do now is you see here that there's this deduped. What this has basically done is it's scanned everything in the title, the bullets, and then all of these search terms that we put in here. And then it's deduplicated all the words that you've used more than once. So if it had golf, obviously we probably used golf 30 times. If it had cart, we probably used that 20 times. If it had push, we probably used that 18 times. So it took all those words out. And of all these 2,300 words that we've yet to optimize for, there's really only 234 of them that aren't already in the listing. So this is our deduped list that we actually want to put into the search terms. And this is just a formula that replicates a lot of what happens in the brand analytics listing optimizer tool. You're basically getting the most bang for the buck in terms of all the keywords that you could put in there. So we're going to go ahead and copy that. We'll paste special that in here. And that should be 235. So we're back down, and we actually have some more to play with here. The other thing that you can do is you can come into the branded terms if you want as well, because sometimes branded terms have words that you haven't used before. We'll do that, and we'll just copy all those guys over. And then we could do the same thing here. Let me just delete all these suckers here. Okay, so we've copied those in there. Again, we're going to come back up to Keyword Dominator, Listing Wizard, Process Phrase List. And then here's all the terms here. And then this is the dedupe stuff. Maybe copy those into the EBC for fun. And then this is the deduped list on this one here. So we could just take these, I'll just copy them in down here, and then we'll kind of work them. Go ahead, delete that. See if we get close to 100 on this. 119, so I'll have to take some of these over. 103, I'm just going to take that 4 out. I don't think we need that. 101, we're so close. Get rid of push, we don't need that. All right. Copy those. 66. There's that hillbilly word. I was waiting for that one to come in. 98. Okay, that's about as good as it's going to get. There's this goft, which is the misspelling. So Caddy Tech is a branded term, so we want to move that. Bag Boy is also, so we'll get rid of that. Click Gear also is. Nitron is. Janus is. Rovik is. Caddy Light. Caddy Vingolf, Yeezy is, WeGuard is, Sun Mountain, Click Gear, Caddymatic is, Alphard. All right, let's just copy that. All right, cool. So basically what we'll do with these ones, and we'll get to this when we create some A+ content, but we'll basically copy those into the image alt text for anything that we put up there in terms of A+ content. Doesn't get a ton of value for organic ranking benefit, but it does index, and that's kind of all we want to do with these kind of miscellaneous words. So we've got all these ones in here. We've got a really fleshed out search terms. In fact, we have some more search terms that we could put in here. We may want to copy some of the good ones here from this section and plug that up into search terms. And then we've got a pretty dang optimized listing. I'm telling you that there's maybe 10% of sellers that have this kind of capability of doing this. So if you take your ideal archetype, you design an offer around it, you understand who they are and speak to them, and then you optimize for keywords like this in your listing, and you have a compelling offer, this is where the magic happens, and this is where you can set yourself apart from the vast majority of Amazon sellers.